I'm not even going to waste anybody's time. I am a Gervonta Davis hater. I hate the way he walks.
The way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress.
Like, everything about this cherry-picking midget pisses me off. Like, just look at his box rec. He hasn't fought an active champion since 2017. 2017.
Hey, but what about Mario Barrios?
He wasn't a real champion. Josh Taylor was undisputed at 140 when he fought Barrios. Barrios had one of those Mickey Mouse championships. His best wins are against Ryan Garcia and Rolly. Like, really think about that for a second. As someone as smart and sharp as Tank, his best wins come from guys that are just offense, no defense. Like, really look at his box rec. Who has Tank actually beaten? Leo Santa Cruz was a guy at 126 who moved up to 130 to fight Tank. Ryan Garcia, a guy that's 140, barely struggling to make 140, who Tank made fight at 136 with the rehydration clause, may I add. Hector Garcia, Gamboa, also guys at 130, moving up to 135 to fight Tank. Do you see a trend here? Now comes Lamont Roach, another fighter at 130 who Tank made move up a weight class to fight him. But guess what? He actually fought back. Really think about the Frank Martin fight. Frank was cooking him the first 6 rounds, and then what happened? He landed a big shot or two, Frank got gun shy, Frank started fighting scared, and then Frank got knocked out. Think about Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia was doing good in the first 2 rounds, then guess what? He got hit by a big shot, kind of got gun shy, didn't know what to do, and then Tank stopped him. Luis Garcia, Mario Barrios, same thing. They're doing good, they get hit one time, oh shit, I'm scared, now they stop fighting, and then Tank wins. Unironically, the only other opponent to fight back against Tank was Pitbull Cruz, and guess what? It was a very close fight. I thought Cruz won, but that's because I'm a hater. You know, obviously my scorecard was biased. But it was a very close fight. Why? Because Pitbull Cruz fought back. Lamont Roach, he fought back. Guess what happened? Majority decision draw. This fight was a perfect example of the flaws in Tank's game. Tank's whole game plan is waiting, big counter shot, get them out of there. What happens when you fight a fighter that you can't get out of there? What happens when you fight a fighter that actually fights back? I genuinely scored the fight for Roach. I know I'm a hater. I know my scorecard is obviously biased. But Lamont landed clean punches, he landed more punches, and he landed big punches. Tank landed big punches too, but I feel like Roach's activity should have gave him the decision here. This begs the question, how is Tank going to do against the other elite 135-pounders? Like, really think about it. Tank has been a champion for so long, yet he's never fought another champion, never unified against another champion, and never even fought anyone within the top 5 best at 135. I already said in a past video that I feel like Shakur would beat him stylistically, but this fight proves it. Roach is by no means a defensive fighter, and even he was able to survive 12 rounds and avoid the big counter shots by Tank. So obviously Shakur is going to do the same. Shakur has way better defense than Roach. And like I brought up in past videos, Shakur could just run, hug, keep his distance. He doesn't care, you know what I mean? Roach was being defensive in the pocket with Tank, in the pocket. Shakur from the outside with his reach advantage, bro, just flick, move. Jab, jab, move. Hug when he gets inside. I really think Shakur could win this fight very easily stylistically. Additionally, and I'm going to admit, I'm probably hating right now, Tank's power might be a little overrated. Like, hear me out. All of Tank's knockouts against Garcia, Santa Cruz, Rolly, all flush on the chin. Very pinpoint accurate, flush on the chin. Versus most of Tank's other shots that don't land on the chin, they don't seem to be as damaging. They're very explosive punches, yes, but other than his clean flush punches, none of them really had an effect on Roach or any of his other opponents. Isaac Cruz, for example, he took a lot of Tank's punches on the forehead and on the glove and on the face, but nothing on the chin, and he was fine the entire fight. To further the point about Isaac Cruz, it's kind of funny how Tank's 2 best defensive opponents have been Roach and Cruz, who aren't even really that good defensively, relatively speaking, and they were both able to survive 12 rounds with him. All of Tank's other opponents are low-key trash on defense. Rolly, terrible defense. Garcia, terrible defense. Like, come on now. Every single defensive fighter that Tank fought gave him troubles. And guess what? Who's the most defensive fighter of all? Like, boxing fans really need to realize that who you knock out is way more important than how many knockouts you have. Congratulations, Tank. You knocked out a bunch of guys with 0 defense. But that's where my hating has to end. I feel like Shakur will beat Tank, but I definitely feel like Tank will beat all the other lightweights. Abdullah Mason, Keyshawn Davis, Vasily Lomachenko. I'm not going to lie, I got to give Tank his props. He's very fast, very strong, has really good ring IQ. I feel like against Loma, Keyshawn, and the other guys, he'll definitely find an opening, and once he does, boom, lights out. Even someone as defensive and as crafty as Andy Cruz, I feel like Tank's going to figure them out, line up a big opening, and boom, knock him out as well. I feel like the only person at 135 that could beat Tank is Shakur. But if we're going to talk about the 140-pound division, guys like Teofimo Lopez, Richardson Hitchens, Liam Parra, bigger guys will definitely give Tank trouble. Stylistically, he'll beat big punchers without defense like Garcia and Rolly regardless of the weight class. But someone like Teofimo Lopez that knows how to stick and move, knows how and when to box and how and when to brawl, I definitely feel like Lopez would give him trouble. I'm not saying Lopez would win, but it would definitely be a really entertaining fight. Additionally, everyone that fought before him on this card, Gary Russell, Rayo, Sander Martin, Paulo, they all have a really good chance of beating Tank as well. Paulo and Sander Martin for their defense and slickness, and just Tank would have a lot of trouble landing against their style. But Gary Russell Jr. and Rayo would definitely beat Tank. Both of them have insane volume, insane power, and are just so much bigger than Tank. I don't see Tank knocking them out, especially with his sit-and-wait style where he throws one big counter punch at a time. They would probably just eat that shit and honestly just bully him the rest of the fight. If Tank can't even stop a 130-pounder, how the hell is he going to compete at 140? And truth be told, he probably never will. Like, we know Tank. He likes to cherry pick his opponents. He likes to have easy fights. We all remember what he said when they asked if he was going to rematch Cruz.
Does this deserve a rematch?
Hell no. But I appreciate him.
Like, really go back to his box rec. Name one risk he took during his entire career. One risk. All his opponents have been super offensive, lacking defense, tailor-made for his weight and counter style. And the two that weren't were both controversial decisions. Knowing Tank's history, he's definitely not going to move up to 140. Way too many challenging opponents, way too many risks.
Hell no.
Also, I'm calling this now. The only person Tank's going to try to fight at 140 is going to be Haney, for obvious reasons. Everyone else, though, nah, too risky. Like Loma and Shakur have been calling him out for years and years and years. Like, we'd be crazy to think he'd fight anyone at 140 if he can't even take on the challenges at his own weight class. Anyways, rant over. You could probably tell, I'm not a huge Tank fan. But I want to end this video on a positive note. Lamont Roach really impressed me this fight. I really thought he had no chance. I thought he was going to go in there, maybe do good for a couple rounds, and then get slept like everyone else. But nah, that boy came to fight. He stood 10 toes on everything he said and made it a dogfight. He showed heart, he showed grit, he showed dog. He proved me and thousands of other people wrong, and he probably made a fan out of all of us. If you missed this fight, first off, sucks to be you. Second of all, please watch the full fight. I know the highlights will probably only show the parts where Tank does good, but please watch the full fight. This fight was amazing. Like, fourth round on, they were just scrapping. Like, yes, they were both trying to set up counter shots, and yes, they were both trying to be technical boxers, blah, 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 who cares? They wanted to kill each other. The way they were throwing with bad intentions, scratch that, horrible intentions, terrible intentions. They were trying to kill each other, let's be real here. And it was just so fun to watch Tank get wobbled over and over again. The hater in me loved it. But yeah, great fight, great performance by Roach. I'm really excited to see who Roach is going to fight next. I don't think Tank's going to accept the rematch because, Tank is Tank, obviously. But I want to see if Roach goes back down to 130 and fights like a Navarrete or someone else, or if he's going to stick to 135 and maybe fight like an Abdullah Mason or Keyshawn Davis. Regardless of who he fights next, he definitely made a fan out of me and countless others tonight. We're all excited to see where he goes from here. I'm also curious to see what Tank's zesty ass is going to do next. Is he going to man up and fight Shakur? Probably not. Is he going to fight one of the other top prospects? Probably not. He's probably going to do a tune-up fight and not even take the rematch, honestly. But we'll see. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.